to game number 1, the Alpha Navigators Cup EMEA quarterfinals. It is a match between B and Don ILYA. B is playing on the bottom left as Infernals, or blue Infernals, against Don ILYA on the top right as our red Celestials. So this is going to be a very interesting match. We actually saw a similar match in terms of the matchup earlier today, and that was between KRAS and MSRM. And MSRM had a very hard time fighting against the Celestial, though it seems like Don ILYA is not going to be going for a very sort of rush in and take control over the map kind of strategy. It seems like he's going to be putting himself a little bit more into a macro game. He goes for a quick creation chamber and he's going to be pumping out a Argent pretty straight up. He's also power surging it so that it comes out quicker. And now he knows that there is no rush coming, that this is going to be a macro game of Celestials versus Infernals. Now what that could do to him, we'll have to see how it develops. The moment, just a very slow and nice ramp up for the side of Don ILYA. He's just now moving his arc ship across the map as a few brutes and a couple of guns make their way through. So definitely a Vault and Conclave opening. Not going for an expansion at all, at least not yet. Seems like our fellow B here is looking to gather some creep camps, it seems. Maybe trying to go for something, or trying to look for some sneaky base somewhere, something along those lines. But Don ILYA is just making a few Argents, pulling them up, has 4 prisms already constructed, getting a link node up. Hexen is gonna be able to sneak through, get past the Argents, but doesn't seem like that is going to be too much of a problem here. The Argent pull back, they get the kill on the Brood, and they're going to kill one of the Fiends, which is definitely what Don ILYA wanted to get there. So now, around the Vision Camp, it really does seem like B just wants to build up a big army and try to go for a push. Yes, the replays will be available for all of the top 8 players. I will be asking them to send me the replays, and they will be posted on the official Stormgate Discord. So if you want to watch these games on your own and through the replay, learn a little bit about all of these top players, you will definitely be able to do so for free at once. So you can see we have Don ILYA playing. This is very weird for me to see a Celestial player play so conservatively and pull back all of its structures, all of its bases, its armory and everything on the back of the base, and give up so much space for the Infernal player. You can see that the Infernal is just enjoying this freedom, which is rarely afforded to Infernal players on the ladder right now. I wonder what Don ILYA is actually cooking with this one, getting another creation chamber. And another thing that's interesting here is that there is no other collection array. Don ILYA is not looking to mine out more, he's just on his base and staying here. It might be, this is one of the things we have seen a little bit, which is that it doesn't seem like Celestials are favored in the Infernal matchup when it comes to secluded growth. They've had a couple of struggles in brackets, and it seems to be the map that they have the most trouble with when it comes to like that sustainability. But losing the Argents here, massive blow to the combat potential of the Celestials, and Don ILYA doesn't seem to mind it too much. He's just continually constructing, getting a Guardian Nexus next. The problem is that B is on 2 bases now. He is fully mining. He's going to be fully mining out of those 2 bases in no time. He actually has the Animus, I think, in a little bit. to refresh the imp charges and go for that, but now, well, it's just fully defensive. Gets a Sovereign Watch off into one of the creation chambers that is going to deal 20 damage per second across the entire duration, and that's enough damage to kind of persuade his opponent to not engage. We'll have to see if it is going to be enough damage to fully support his base. Once he's only on one, we'll have to figure out what Don ILYA wants to do here, because it is a complicated position to be in at the moment. So the Arc ship moves out, tries to go for the Vision Camp. Not entirely sure, FTWGs, not entirely sure what we're not seeing a full expansion. There was a Prism going there, so I think that was the intent, but by giving so much space here, that has definitely happened. We see some Prisms going into the distance. A Solar Raid finally pops out on that side of the competition here, on the side of the map, excuse me, to gather a few more resources, but I don't know if it's just about the resources or if Don ILYA needs to do something vastly different here. It is game number 1, he has more opportunities to try and mark his splash here, but the Argents are not gonna last long with this many guns out in force who don't have Plague Eggs yet, but it doesn't really matter. The mousing is doing the work, and Sovereign Watch is continually attacking here. It is enough damage to, again, dissuade staying forward a little while longer, but just fully in the corner, not expanding at all, just grabbing a collector array here, putting a link node, those sort of basics, and a Prism on the other side, but no other bases for them. And Infernals is just having a good time here, collecting with as many as he can. Yeah, and another engagement, and that's gonna be a GG. So that is a full GG from Don ILYA for game number 1. So with Broken Crown, we have about the same size as Secluded Grove, but definitely a different layout for the map. It could be one that maybe Don ILYA feels a little bit more confident on, being a ladder warrior and all that. The Morph Core and our Celestial ship flying off. And on the other side we have, of course, B with the Infernals. Probably gonna go for a quick expansion as well if he has the opportunity to. Have to wait and see. Oh, give me 1 second, I have to change something real quick. There we go. So on this one we see the Hexen, the Skull of Shaheda. I don't know why Shahed is in my head. Sheda. Skull of Sheda. Of Cheda. The Skull of Sheda is gonna be spotting the Arc ship moving through, and might be enough to trigger a sort of follow-up instead of B, maybe something that he needs to go and chase off. But we'll have to see how that little port develops. At the moment, just pretty much the same opening, just going with the Argents first, getting the Chamber of Creation. This time moving the Arc ship, this time deciding to go fully out and try to control this base. B is also doing the similar build order, just replacing the Vault that you would have as the opening to instead get a second Conclave. I guess the main idea here is just to get more guns out earlier. The Hexen is actually gonna get, not trapped, but there was an attempt here to try to push out and get something going for it, but it was not enough. And the Arc ship now is moving forward. He gets a Creation Chamber down, and if that manages to build, which it likely will, it will get a Sovereign Watch on top of it, and that will immediately start dealing damage to the guns. This should be a very quick Sovereign Watch for Don ILYA to start pumping out the damage there, as the Argents started to pull through as well. And there is the Sovereign Watch, as you can see, right up there, dealing a ton of damage. You can see, if I hover over it, the Sovereign Watch deals damage to enemy units. It deals 20 points of damage per second to enemy units. It's a lot of damage. It's definitely a lot of damage. It might get patched out. Hopefully it gets patched out. But at the moment, Don ILYA seems like he is a little bit more confident about his ability to move through and get the win here. Which means that we could either go into Lost Hope or Boneyard next, depending on what B is feeling at the moment. So the Guns are gonna be sneaking right on through against Sovereign Watch. Does short work of any attempt of aggression. You can see this is something that a few Celestial players are doing and that I think is very, very smart, which is to disable the charge shot from their Argents whenever they're attacking structures. Because when you're attacking a structure, like whatever damage you deal to it, you deal the damage, and that's it. But for units, you generally want to have a way to kill them quicker because they have the opportunity to damage you back. So you can see that it gets re-enabled when you are facing a unit opponent and you just want to be able to kill it as soon as possible. And that is exactly what ILYA does. Now on the other side of the map, what we're seeing is the Guns coming in and trying to clean this little expansion here. Now something that is worth noting is that with Sovereign Watch, you can, it has recharges, so you can move it around and put it everywhere else. But if you have it somewhere stuck like here, there is a little bit of a time where you cannot move it somewhere else. And so this is a little bit of the way that people try to break through this idea of the rush, is by having their opponent use so many Sovereign Watches that you don't really get the opportunity to kind of protect against it. So right now we're seeing the Guns kind of push forward and have a little bit of momentum, but not a lot. On the other side, the Argents are now pushing again. Fully charged shots deal a ton of damage for the Argents. I think the difference is like between 16 and 20 damage or something like that. They deal enough damage that it is considerable. So you just have to be mindful of that when things get heavy. Argents coming through then and getting a couple of shots on the Brutes. You can see the Brutes immediately going down to 63 health, and it's a chunk of damage. Then now back in the base with the Strike Node. The Strike Node also deals a ton of damage with 7 damage per shot, and they shoot very quickly. Hear me out, tag 2 turret ability, yeah. That is gonna get absolutely cooking in a moment, I think. We don't yet have the Arc Station. And I don't think ILYA is gonna go up to the Arc Station to try and get any of the upgrades related to it. The Guns have come back from the war, but they are fewer, they have a little bit less health, and this is gonna be the push that B is gonna try to cope with, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. We have a big fight going. The Strike Node is still up, and as long as the Strike Node is there, that is gonna be very, very difficult. The Strike Node should be getting targeted, hopefully. The bouncing axes are doing really good damage. Strike Node goes down. There is no longer stationary defenses, no Sovereign Watch here to protect it. And the Guns are making short work of the Argents now that they don't have any energy. The batteries have been consumed and the Prisms are just there. They're not doing anything, but it seems like one Sovereign Watch is just enough to pull the Guns back. But that was really good damage by B to weaken the position of ILYA or Celestial players. It's not going to be just enough to win this game. It's still one collector here, and it could be an opportunity for ILYA to say, you know what, I need to get more collectors, more prisms on the way, try to get their economy up, because B is actually in a pretty good position now. He has an economy fully functioning, and now he's gonna go for another push again. So 2 link nodes, but they are not upgraded. They are still in the process of upgrading. They will be finishing within the next couple of seconds, but they're taking a lot of damage, and one is done. The other one is gonna get cancelled in just a moment. No strike nodes mean there are no defenses. The Argents are the only thing dealing damage right now. The batteries have gone off, so no extra damage either. And the Brutes now need to surround. They need to get the kills here for B, and this could be GG in just a moment. Maybe trying to play it safe on game number 1 for ILYA was not the right choice, because here in game number 2, B has done the impossible. He has broken through the rush of a Celestial player, one of the best players right now out there in the ladder, and has taken it upon himself to go ahead and break this open. So a couple more Argents come out, but they get immediately snagged up, and this is a terrible position to be in. What used to be 2 prisms mining Illuminite is now Just 2 prisms and a solar collector back in base, but that is not gonna be enough to defend against an Infernal player who's now well positioned to go out there into the map, to grab resources, get an expansion going, and GG, well played, gets called. That is gonna be done. ILYA tapping out and be moving forward to the semi-finals.